The Morning Meditation Challenge: 21 Days to Manage Your Mood, Mind, and Manifestations by Gabriella Sophia Buxton. Introduction. Firstly, I want to say thank you so much for picking up this book. Whether you are curious and playing with the idea of introducing a regular meditation practice into your day, or an instructor looking for fresh ideas on how to coach your clients, or are a dedicated meditator, excited to start a practice which will set you up each morning, I feel confident that this book will support you. I wrote this book specifically with women like myself in mind. I'm a busy millennial woman who often feels as though I'm playing some sort of catch-up. Whether it is too late in the evening to cook a proper meal, or I've missed an opportunity to spend quality time with my son, or I feel behind on my most recent health, career, or money goal, I get this voice from within whispering, "When did you last meditate?" I can't tell you that I'm perfect with my practice, because perfection is a fallacy and doesn't really exist. But what I can tell you is that my meditation practice has held space for me through all of the highs and lows of my life over the last 10 years. And I'm a considerably kinder, more productive, and happier person when I'm regularly pulling my cushion out, closing my eyes, and breathing deeply for a few minutes per day. About a year ago, I was experiencing more of those chasing my tail moments than I normally would, and I knew that something had to give. My mindset, my mood, and my ability to manifest the intentions I was setting was way out of whack, and I'd fully convinced myself that although I knew that meditation was the key, I had no time to do it. I moped around in this victim mentality for weeks, wasting time scrolling Instagram, procrastinating, and snoozing my alarm every morning in the process, until eventually I decided to recommit to something I'd done regularly years earlier. Long before I became a mother, I would wake up 10 minutes earlier than I needed to. I would roll straight out of bed and directly onto my yoga mat, which I kept in front of the bedside table, and for 10 whole minutes I would sit with my legs crossed in quiet contemplation. My mental, emotional, and spiritual health were at an all-time high, and even my physical health was positively impacted. Throughout the day, I would feel focused on my business, knew how to diffuse potential arguments, and would make good food and fitness choices. In turn, my career, relationships, and body were thriving, and I generally felt like the peachiest peach that ever peached. So, what had changed? Well, I became unexpectedly pregnant, my partner left me unceremoniously, I taught a yoga retreat in Italy, I gave birth to a gorgeous son, I published a book about navigating pregnancy, birth, and motherhood as a solo mother. Little shameless self-plug, The Single Mama's Guide to Pregnancy is still available for purchase via Amazon. I survived a pandemic, my yoga studio business closed, I moved house, I lost, then gained, a whole bunch of friends. I fell in love, I got my heart broken, again, ugh. I realized I'm probably neurodivergent. My cousin suddenly died of leukemia. I started home educating my little boy and, well, that's it. Easy stuff, right? No, not right. I'm someone who strongly believes that there is a lesson in everything that happens, that the universe will never let anything which is meant for us pass us by, and that it is all meant for our highest and best evolution potential. And everything that I just mentioned triggered a catalyst of trauma for me to grow through. So my practice had fallen by the wayside to a point where I was lucky if I got a 10-minute meditation in once per fortnight, honestly. But here I was, ready once again to lay my life at the foot of consciousness itself. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I didn't know if I could commit. But I told myself that if I could just do the next morning meditation, then I was on the right path. I didn't set a number of days at the time. I would simply decide the night before which of my meditations I wanted to wake up to the next morning, and then I did it. Some mornings I'd wake up bright and early, energized for the day, while my little boy continued to sleep, and other days I'd be interrupted halfway through by his tiny voice calling, "Mama, I need a wee." Sometimes I'd have to wait until after I'd dropped him off at preschool before I could actually have the space and time to settle. And other times I'd practice in the car outside the schools I was due to teach yoga in just a few minutes later. Some days I'd feel the rush of peace, joy, and power after my meditation, and other times I wouldn't, but I stuck with it. I stuck with it until the 22nd day, when I woke up with my head thick with cold. But you know what? 2 days later, I started again, because I was missing it so much. I've been back in the habit of morning meditation for almost a year now, and I honestly hope I never fall out of it again. So it's time for me to share my practice with you. And I'm already so looking forward to hearing about the shifts and changes which a 21-day morning meditation challenge will bring about in your life. But first, I want to answer a few questions you may have and make a couple of important points. Why meditation? Across cultures and time, meditation has long been considered a tool for optimum health and wellness. While this is most often apparent in terms of mental, emotional, and physical well-being, it's also clear to see how the benefits of a regular meditation practice can seep into our lives off the meditation cushion as well. For example, the meditating person is able to focus more throughout their day, make gentler choices where their loved ones are concerned, and even welcome more abundance into their lives, thus positively impacting their career, opportunities, health, and finances too. The best part is that a meditation practice doesn't need to be complex. There's something to suit everyone's schedule, budget, and preference. Plus, the results of a dedicated practice can be seen very early on. Of course, there are sometimes expectations or judgments which can get in the way and discourage us. We know that meditation has forever been described as a method to still the mind, but for those of us with very busy minds, this can seem impossible. Furthermore, it can be difficult to understand when we have so much hustle and bustle in our lives, how meditating regularly can actually give us more time, rather than take time away from us. And we might have preconceived notions of what meditation looks like. If you're visualizing someone sitting on a sheepskin rug at the foothill of the Himalayas in lotus pose, chanting Om, then you know what I mean. But I invite you to suspend any expectation or judgment you may have for just 10 minutes per day for the next 21 days. I honestly think you'll thank me for it. Why mornings? Our lives can be so manic in this modern day and age that the thought of setting aside extra time in the morning in order to meditate can seem counterproductive. After all, it's likely that from the moment you wake up until the moment you are required to show up to your commitments, for example, parenting, work, school, etc., you are maxed out. So the only other option is to wake up a few minutes earlier in order to commit to this. I know. Even the earliest bird is unlikely to want to rise even earlier than they already do. But I have specifically crafted this challenge in order to boost your energy levels, improve your concentration for those responsibilities, and set you up for the most easeful days of your life. I can promise you that waking up these extra 10 minutes earlier is going to be one of the best decisions you will make. Again, you're just going to have to trust me on this one until we get started. You might be wondering, why can't I just do these meditations in the evening or during my lunch break? And there are so many answers to that question. Firstly, these meditations have been specifically crafted for the morning time, the time when the world around us is just waking up and the energy is most powerful. We can use the sounds, the scents, and the sights of nature all around us to inspire our practice before our phones begin to ping, before car pollution fills the air, and before people are rushing around our home environment. Morning is the time when we are less likely to need to be present for others, or reply to emails, or feel the temptation to check social media, because everyone else is still sleeping. When we meditate in the morning, we are setting a precedent. Me first. This may seem selfish to some, but I think of it as being self-full. We are filling ourselves up, filling our cups, so that we have more to share when the rest of the world begins to make its demands on us. Also, morning provides us with an inner sense of connection which we only get when we haven't long since awoken. We are still riding the waves of our sleep pattern, bleary-eyed and dream-filled. This in-between stage, which comes just after sleep and before properly waking up, provides us with the perfect neurological space in order to maximize on our practice. So where possible, please attempt to complete each day of this challenge first thing in the morning. But yes, you are allowed to pee first. Perfection paralysis. All of that being said, it is better to do the work than to skip it just because the circumstances aren't perfect. Sometimes my little boy wakes up before I even have the time to wake myself up, which means that my practice may end up getting pushed to mid-morning when he's at preschool, or even last thing at night. For you, you may find that you woke up in a panic following a nightmare about getting a work email sent, and you just have to log on before you have bandwidth for anything else. On these occasions, don't let the fact that the world got in the way mean that you can't stick to the challenge. It may mean you need to switch some of the days around, because some of the meditations can only really be practiced in the morning, where others are suitable for the evening too. Or that you need to do your best with the sounds of cartoons on in the background. Take these challenges as an opportunity to recommit and stay focused. I'd also say on this one that although we may have a dream about lighting a candle or incense every morning and having our journal close by and the perfect music playing, let's not attach too tightly to that vision of the perfect meditation conditions. If we find ourselves becoming frustrated with not having everything set up in exactly the way that we envisioned, drop those expectations completely. Sometimes you'll meditate on your cushion with sunlight streaming through and a beautiful upright posture, and sometimes you'll meditate in the car in the work parking lot with the stench of the fast food breakfast you just rushed down filling the air. Your practice doesn't need to be perfect in order to be impactful. It just needs to be done. Work in community. If you've decided to start this process on your own, I commend you. This is honestly incredible. You've set an intention with the hope that you'll embrace the benefits, and you're ready to take the inspired action in order to make it happen. Snaps for you. And also, we all know that typically when we are able to do something in community, we tend to stand a much better chance of success, whatever that means to us, due to the accountability and motivational elements of working as a team. For this reason, I want to empower you to reach out to friends and family and see if anyone else might be interested in joining you. Working through the seasons, the lunar cycle, and your menstrual cycle. Much in the same way as I've indicated the meditations which might be later in the day if necessary, I've also indicated those which work best in relation to specific seasons of the year, dates in the lunar calendar, or phases of your menstrual cycle if you have one. These are not hard and fast rules. If you find yourself sitting down to meditate with this book one winter morning, please don't feel like you can't practice one of the meditations which is best suited to the summertime. However, if you like to live seasonally, you may prefer to work with those recommended for the season multiple times during the course of the 21-day challenge. This will provide you with a more in-depth practice of these meditations and provide you with something new to do as the wheel of the year turns. Equally, if an abundance and energy-based meditation is the next one in the challenge for you, but it happens to fall on a full moon, which is better suited for a more reflective practice, you might choose to switch some of the days around. Or, if you find that the meditation which was preset suits your mood for the day best, you might not. The same applies to where you may be in your menstrual cycle. Some of these practices are ideal for harnessing your vibrant ovulation time energy, while others will suit those times during your bleed where you may prefer something more grounding. I've crafted this challenge in order so that each session layers beautifully, one on top of the other. But you are the master of your destiny here. And if your intuition is telling you to mix things up a little for whatever reason, please feel free to do that. In fact, I'm excited to find out about how you end up customizing the challenge to best suit your own needs. 10 meditation tips. Number 1, make sure that you are comfortable and warm. If you know you need to pee, drink some water, feed the cat, blow your nose, or grab a blanket or cushion before you're able to focus on your practice, make sure you do. Number 2, stretch first. It can be so frustrating to set yourself up for a meditation practice and then realize that you haven't got that morning crick out of your neck just yet, or that your joints need lubricating first. Wiggle your fingers and toes, roll your head, shoulders, ankles and wrists gently. Circle your hips, stretch your arms and legs, yawn wide and give your whole body a tight hug. And then begin. Number 3, sit or stand upright to meditate. While lying down can be a super chill way to meditate, these meditations are intended for a morning practice, so you'll get the most out of them if your spine is in an energized, upright position. Plus, this way you won't be tempted to fall back to sleep. Number 4, get outdoors as often as possible. Unless the weather is terrible, or you live in a big city with too much noise and air pollution, I'd encourage you to step outside for your practice. Planting your hands, feet, or butt into the earth first thing in the morning can be so grounding. But if this isn't available to you, please try to open a window or the curtains as a bare minimum. Number 5, have a journal close to hand to log your progress. Even just writing a sentence a day about how the meditation made you feel can be a brilliant way to mark each practice that we do. And you will be able to look back at the end of the 21 days and reflect more easily on where you came from and where you're going with this. Number 6, don't overcomplicate things. In order to meditate, all you need is a body. Obviously, if you'd like to pop a couple of drops of essential oil into a diffuser, light a candle, or play some gentle music too, you can do this. But none of these things are vital for your practice to take place. Number 7, set a timer. If you're not using one of my recordings to move through this practice, it will be beneficial to set a 10-minute timer. During those 10 minutes, read the meditations on the page and then practice it to the best of your memory. When the timer goes off, don't rush out of the practice, but take it as an indicator to start bringing your awareness back, slowly but surely. Number 8, take 3 deep breaths before beginning, then close your eyes. These 3 breaths will be your signal to your body that it's time to sink into some sacred space. And unless the specific meditation calls for open eyes, closing them off can allow your other senses to be ignited and a feeling of presence to wash over you. Number 9, shared expectation. Remember, you are going to love some of these practices, and some of them not so much. That's okay. Approach this challenge with curiosity, playfulness, and a beginner's mind, even if you're a seasoned meditator. You might surprise yourself. Number 10, it's called a practice for a reason. If you're brand new to meditation, or you have a lot of stress, or your environment is quite chaotic with pets, partners, kiddos, roommates, or neighbors buzzing around you, you may struggle to find the stillness of mind that you're craving on your first few attempts. But just like with everything, practice makes progress, and the skills you're learning here will pay dividends throughout your life moving forward. So stick with it. Who am I? Finally, before we get started, I just wanted to introduce myself, since I will be your guide along the way. My name is Gabriella, and I am a yoga instructor, feminine empowerment coach, and children's mindfulness instructor. I've been meditating for over 10 years now, and I found my way to this path when I broke free from an abusive relationship, was feeling lonely in a new city all by myself, and was absolutely hating my job at the time. Depression, anxiety, and PTSD were rife through my system, and I needed something to bring me back to myself. At first, I thought I might find what I needed in medication, in alcohol, and in empty friendships. Needless to say, those didn't work. Eventually, I got into yoga, holistic living, and personal development, then slowly but surely began meditating, and I've never looked back. My practice has carried me through many life challenges since, and I'm so grateful. When I traveled Asia solo, regular meditation helped me to feel safe in my body, even when I was in a new place. When I founded my business, regular meditation helped me to hold the line of faith during those make or break moments. When I discovered that I was pregnant and my partner at the time peaced out, regular meditation helped me to connect with my inner power and give birth to the most incredible little boy. And there's been so much more too. As I've previously mentioned, I'm also an Amazon #1 best-selling author, The Single Mama's Guide to Pregnancy 2020, the Duo and 2 Seasonal Sisters podcaster. The first focuses on Walt Disney World, Universal Studios, and Orlando as a whole, while the second focuses on rewatches of cheesy Christmas movies. I'm a 90s aficionado, true crime lover, and coupon-chasing mama. I enjoy spending time with my family, home educating my son Walter, traveling the world, roller skating, cooking, gently hiking, salsa dancing, journaling, singing, and writing. Since the work is never done, I'm in the process of learning how to manage my as yet undiagnosed neurodivergence, self-regulating my attachment system through inner child therapy, and creating generational wealth which will heal the money story for my ancestors and descendants alike. And meditation is there through it all. This is why I'm so looking forward to seeing how this 21-day morning meditation challenge will change things for you too. Now, let's do this.